Shalom and welcome to 2 Minutes of Torah. This year is entitled The Temple Mount, Har Habayit, number 40. The topic is challenging the psak of Gedolim. The fact is, as we continue our journey through this fascinating sugya, the Temple Mount, going up to Har Habayit, is it mutter, is it asr? The fact is, many poskim, hold it as asr, as we have learned. The Minchas Yitzchak, Yabia Omer, Tshuvot V'Anagot, Sternbach, Modim Zmanim, Tzitz Eliezer, the Rabbanot, what's for Yehuda Cook. And the list goes on and on. So the question is, can we go ahead and learn the sugya in terms of halacha l'maaseh? We certainly can learn it as a sugya lahavin, to understand the depths and all the sides. But in terms of psak, it's clear. Major poskim have prohibited it, and there's nothing to discuss halacha l'maaseh. So in Kol HaHechal, written by Rav Ariel, after the signing of the Rabbanut and many other rabbis, approximately 2005, as a response, Rav Ariel wrote an essay explaining all the reasons that one could and should go up to Har Habayit, and sent it to all the rabbis that signed on the ban not to go up. Didn't receive too many answers, but one of the answers was from Rav Nevenzel, another one was from Rav Kohn, the Rav in Bat Yam. And they argued in a very respectful way. And he says, listen, the Rav from Bat Yam, Rav Kohn, said, listen, Rav Eliyahu, kol hakavod to you. Once my Rebbe, Rav Yehuda Cook, paskin, we don't go up. It is not the time. It's another chapter in history. There's nothing for me to talk about. And I'm going to sign the ban to go up. And all of our arguments back and forth, Rav Ariel, is not going to change my position. This is certainly similar to the position of Rav Aviner and Rav Tau, where once Rav Yehuda paskin, we don't go up, then we don't go up. The end of the discussion. So Rav Ariel has a fascinating response. He says, I very much appreciate your approach to Rav Yehuda. He was my Rebbe as well. I learned with him. And Rav Ariel discusses how he actually went up with Rav Yehuda onto the Temple Mount the day it was captured. But apparently it was a one-time thing according to the Talmid of Rav Yehuda. Rav Ariel says, I appreciate your allegiance to Rabbeinu Rav Yehuda, but that's not my approach. Because there's something else I learned from Rav Yehuda, that the allegiance ultimately is to Hashem and to Emet, to truth. And we must each one of us needs to go ahead, someone who's capable, who's a Talmid Chacham, who knows how to research properly, needs to go ahead and research the sugya directly. And if we think the Rebbe is mistaken, then we have to argue it out and even paskin differently against a Rebbe. That's what a Talmid Chacham's job is. And he quotes several sources. One, the Ramban in Hilchot Sanhedrin, Perek 22, Halacha Bet. The Talmud is there. He sees a diyun with his Rebbe and other Rabbanim in a diyun with an ashir, poor person, a wealthy person, some argument that's going on. The Talmud says, my Rebbe is wrong. So what does the Rambam say? It is asur for him to be quiet. He must speak up and share his insight with the Rav, because maybe the Rav is wrong. The Ramban, introduction to the Saifer Hamitzvoth, he writes, I will not be a chamor no say kelim, and I'll have respect for my rabbis before me, but I will argue it out. And I'm going to challenge them if I think that's what needs to be done. That's the Ramban, introduction to Saifer Hamitzvoth of the Rambam. Rav Chaim Volozhin, Perek Aleph Mishnah Daled, Yosef ben Yoezer, writes, Omer Yibet Chabid Vad L'Chachamim, Mitavek Bafar Gleim, he should be a Vad L'Chachamim. Rav Chaim Volozhin writes over there in the Ruach Hachaim, he says, if you Avu Beno, Ravat Beno, a father and a son, a Rebbe and a Talmud, He cannot accept the Rebbe if there's problems and challenges with his view. And sometimes the emes is with the Talmud. And the Talmud might see it right, might see it correctly. And the Talmud has to argue with the Rebbe. And he says that's just the idea. Sometimes the Talmud, that there are times that Eitz Katan Madlik et Hagadol. Sometimes the Eitz Katan, the small branch, will light the big branch. So too a small Talmud might light up the Rebbe. And therefore Talmud has to be able to argue with the Rebbe. And then two more sources for Rav Moshe Feinstein. In Yoredei Gimel, Siman Pei Ched, he was asked from a Rav, a Chashav Rav who was in Bnei Brak, can I go ahead, live in Bnei Brak, give shirim, and argue with the Chazon Ish? Can I challenge the Chazon Ish? This is in Tafshin Lamed Zayin, 1977. Rav Moshe says, of course. You think the Chazon Ish wants, everyone just reads his book and accepts it and swallows it and that's it? He wants people to argue. Not only does he want people to argue and challenge, he'll be a Melitz Yosha for you. That you go ahead and you quote him respectfully, of course, always with respect, and then you challenge and you clarify your views, you clarify his views. That's how Torah works. And the only time there's any pada on a Talmud is if he challenged the Rebbe with disrespect and puts him down. It's a personal attack. But if it's Rizcha D'Oraisa, it's with passion and love in searching for the truth, and the Rebbe is always quoted in a respectful way. That's how it should be. Finally, one last source, Rav Moshe Feinstein. He was asked to give an approbation to a Saifer Maiafar Kumi, written by a young man who tragically was killed in Hebron about the Mitzvah Yeshiva Aretz. And in his book, Maiafar Kumi, he challenges Rav Moshe. Here's this young man from Merkaz Arav, in the prime of his life, and he's going ahead in his 20s, he's challenging Rav Moshe. And Rav Moshe writes Haskama. That you should read the book, enjoy the Sefer. I disagree with his disagreement on my position, Rav Moshe says. Rav Moshe held strong to his position, that's fine. But read and enjoy it. What do you mean he's challenging Rav Moshe? Yes, he's doing just what he's supposed to do. He's supposed to go through the sugya and learn it and see Rav Moshe's position. And if he thinks it's a challenge, Rav Moshe says, read the Sefer. It's a kavod for the young man who was killed. So we see from here the Ramban, the Nefesh Hachaim, Rav Moshe, that for Talmud to go ahead and learn a sugya and challenge his Rebbe, there's nothing wrong. It's commendable. That is Rav Ariel's position, and that's why he's different than some of the other Talmidim from Rav Tau and Rav Avineh, Rav Kohn, and others, Talmidim or Rav Kook, where he's ready to go ahead and say, I need to learn the sugya, I'm going to take it on, and if I have a different conclusion than Moreinu Rabbeinu Tzvi Yehuda Kook, so be it. And that's, of course, how he's lived. And to me, he's a model of this approach, where everything that he says is always source-based, with what I consider to be a clear analysis, and always respectful. Always quotes Rav Avineh Shlita, Rav Tau Shlita, Rav Kohn Shlita. To me, Rav Ariel is the model of learning L'Shem Shemayim and having a respectful but forceful disagreement. Shalom.